know, if you go into the interior, like farther distance, siéntate al lado mío para que te pueda traducir.
Alright, you guys pair up and stretch.
Vente conmigo, así te puedo traducir.
Okay.
Vamos a empezar acá. Aquí, fíjate ahí. Vas a agarrar tus pies, le vas a poner los pies aquí, no te quitan los zapatos. Así podemos retirarnos completamente.
Tao of Jeet Kune, page 116, getting closer and closer. Joint locks. Joint locks may be done while standing or laying or lying on the ground as an immobilizing technique. Outside armpit lock to left or right stance. Wrist lock, reverse twisting wrist lock to double arm lock. Lying across arm bar, standing single leg lock. Lying single leg lock, single leg and spine lock, double leg and spine lock, foot twist toe hold. Chokes, rear drop choke, lean over drop choke, side drop choke, foul tactics. Here, pulling while infighting for control, foot stopping while infighting for maiming, skin pinching, biting, and ear pulling for release or control, groin grabbing for maiming or release. Takedown methods.
Street fighting.
Estamos hablando de la lectura, estamos hablando de los locks, agarrando las piernas, los brazos, y alguien tiene un lock en el piso, lo puedes hacer parado en el piso, puedes morder a alguien, o agarrarle los huevos, lo que sea que tienes que hacer para que no te metan en un lock. Entonces, te meten, te agarran por el cuello, tú tienes que hacer lo que tienes que hacer para zafarte de ahí.
Takedown methods. Circle, step, single leg tackle. Drop steps, leg tackle. Draw step, leg tackle.
Forma de tumbar a una persona con los brazos, con los pies, doble pies, un pie. Esto estamos hablando ahora. Respira. Respira profundo.
Do's. Always keep moving. Be prepared for counters. Develop cat-like movements. Make the opponent wrestle your way. Be aggressive. Make your opponent think defense.
Siempre mueve tu movimiento, que tu contrincante piense en defensa, todo el tiempo, mantente moviéndote todo el tiempo. ¿Puedes más o no?
Don't cross your legs. Don't commit your arms too deeply. Don't chase your opponent. Don't rely on one takedown. Be ready for other openings. Don't let your opponent circle you.
No cruces tus pies. No dejes que tu contrincante te agarre los pies, los brazos. No dejes que te agarren. Siempre te arisco lo que estás haciendo, pon atención a tu contrincante. No cruces tus pies, mantén tus manos y tu equilibrio. Respira. Respira profundo.
Next couple of days. Oh, she had time? Yeah.
There's some nice takedown techniques that he's showing. We could practice that after the stretching.
Ready? Dale.
Some nice takedown techniques.
Yeah, that he's showing that we could practice.
Oh, we got illustrations in there too.
Yeah.
Don't force it.
So, that some stretches for.
Wow, that. No sure, alright? See?
Yeah.
Aumentar, não é? Sim.
Okay.
Sim. Assim, assim não é? Respira.
You work that leg.
Fundo.
No, I get off. Typically 11, 11:30. Chit chat with some coworkers by the time I get home it's 12.
Si puedes, abre las manos así. Para que pueda ayudar.
Sleep or stretch.
Está, no se siente. Ok. Take down.
Sox man, I was thinking about saying the Cubs championship hat. He can't stand the Cubs, that's what I was gonna send it to him.
Okay.
It's funny. There's these chokes that he was doing to Kareem.
Oh, that's in here?
Yeah, it's funny.
Ahora
You should watch one of his,
Yeah.
I met this one.
He's got some really nice illustrations in here that we could do.
Yeah. I haven't really, I don't think I've watched, other than some documentary stuff, I haven't watched any of his films since I've been training.
Hmm.
Watch now.
Well, yeah, with some perspective.
Yeah. But I've watched, some documentaries and stuff. On his films.
But more of this, yeah.
That's good.
Respira. Respira profundo.
This was all a stretch.
Pies.
Push your legs down like
Relajados.
this.
Oh, right.
You can sense me already here.
Hasta ahí llega. Respira profundo. Saca todo el aire para
Alright, we'll definitely go work on that when we're done with that. Next part is preparations. Intelligence is sometimes defined as the capacity of the individual to adjust himself successfully to his environment or to adjust the environment to his needs. Feints. To minimize the danger of being heavily countered, leads should almost always be preceded by a feint of some sort. A slight wave of the hand, a stomp of the foot, a sudden shout can produce sensory irritations sufficient to reduce coordination. This mechanism is at the reflex level of the human behavior, and even many times of athletic experience cannot erase the distracting effects of the extraneous stimuli.
That's against the opponent we're talking about?
Yeah. It's just interesting because we're sparring Mark, and head in the corner hit him, and he made this loud yell. And then Jenny saw the video, she's like, "What the hell is going on?" It's like it's not safe sparring anymore. And she didn't even watch the video. She just heard her yell. It's just interesting, like how.
What, you hit him?
Yeah. I hit him and then he yelled. You know.
What's not safe about it?
Because the way he yelled, it seemed like he was hurt. You know what I'm saying? And it's just interesting how, like, the vocals can be used towards your advantage in fighting if you use it the right way. You know, like you could distract them and throw them off just from your voice. You know, I think that's something that we have to be aware of because. I mean, I always teach for self-defense, especially if I'm teaching women or something like that in here. We're talking about self-defense situations. Like, when you're punching somebody and you yell out, it's not just, you know, people make fun of that stuff, but it's not just because it makes the technique more effective, but it also alerts the people around that something's happening and for them to come help you, you know what I'm saying? Because rather than saying, help, 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 you're going, ta, ta, ta. People, what the hell is that noise, you know? Then they start tuning in and they're like, oh shit, let's help them out. Right. But if you just like, like, ain't nobody gonna help you. So imagine a woman that's getting raped and she just don't say shit, you know? She just quiet, you know?
No, it's like a stand.
But then, like, I'm not saying to scream, like, out of fear, like, but, like, you scream out of power, fighting, then it works to your advantage in that dangerous encounter. And now, we don't practice it that often, but it's something that you need to be able to turn on when you need it. And not be self-conscious or afraid to do it because, oh, you know, I don't want people laughing at me. No, but this dude just pulled a knife on you. You know what I'm saying? And like you gotta save your own life. So if you kick and you yell out while you kick, now you can alert other people to help you while you're trying to defend yourself against that person, opposed to just staying quiet, you know? So yelling is almost like calling the police when you're in danger. But if you don't call the police when you're in danger, it just makes it worse for you. So there's a part of the vocal training that we have to, you know, I'm not saying to do it all the time, but know that you can do it and don't be afraid to do it and don't have fear of doing it. You know, that's important.
I always had an assumption that maybe it gave you a psychological advantage because lions roar before they fight.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's part of an intimidation factor too. And it doesn't even have to be yelling. It could be before the fight encounter. You have a strong voice and you fight back verbally to put them in their place. And then they kind of like, oh shoot, you know, this person's not a pushover. Right. So let me just leave this person alone, you know. So there's the vocal aspect where you actually say something to the person. And then there's the other aspect where you're screaming out with every technique to alert the other people around you that you're in danger. And there is a psychological aspect. If you think about, you know, even basketball players, they say they talk shit to each other in the past, throws the people off their game. And Muhammad Ali was a master at that, talking all this shit, and people just get so mad. It just throws them off, you know? Like, that is all a part of your overall success, you know? Like, using your voice to, you know, to survive, you know? And don't forget about that, you know? No feint can be counted effective. However, unless it forces the opponent to move, to be successful, it must appear to be a simple movement of attack. Good feints are decisive, expressive, and threatening, and one can say that JKD is built on feints and the actions connected with them.
Say that one more time.
Good feints are decisive, expressive, and threatening, and one can say that JKD is built on feints and the actions connected with them. The feint is the deceiving thrust which invites and lures the opponent to make the appropriate parry. As the opponent takes the parry, the fighter's hand disengages from the opponent's parrying hand, and the thrust is completed in the open line with either hand. The feint is composed of a false thrust and a real evasive thrust. The false thrust is a half-extended arm with a slight forward movement of the upper body. The real evasive thrust is done with the lunge. The false thrust must appear so real that it will threaten the opponent into a reaction. The false thrust must appear to be a real thrust in order to convince the opponent to take the parry.
Excuse me, what do you mean by false thrust? What kind of thrust is that? Which one is that one?
Like this, bam, false. Like you just kind of get them to react. You do that all the time, just faking them out.
Right, I just don't know the terminology
False,
for it.
false thrust. Like a false jab. False jab, real jab. Feints should be made with the arm more extended, fast, but impress. If they precede kicking and long-range advancement, if they are made after a parry and the adversary can be reached without a lunge, keep the arm slightly bent and stay well covered with the shifting or rear guard. The advantage of a feint or feints is that the attacker can start lunging with his feints and thus be gaining distance from the outset. He will have shortened the distance to travel by a good half with his feint and left to his second movement only the second half of the engagement. He gains distance by starting his lunge with his feint hand and simultaneously gains time by receiving the parry, the opponent's reaction on the way to his target.
Están diciendo que
So
hace
using the feint
bastante
as a tactic
movimientos en
to
falso
close
para
distance.
confundir a tu oponente, a tu contrincante, como un jab falso, un este falso, obligando a él a moverse de su posición. Ajá, bastante feints.
Feinting is an essential part of attack. The more the opponent can be caught off guard, or more important still, off balance by means of feints, the better. The speed of your feint is dependent upon the reaction of your opponent. Thus, feinting like speed and distance must be regulated to your opponent's reaction. The 1-2 feints can be utilized laterally, inside-outside, outside-inside, or vertically, high-low, low-high, with only one hand or with the two combined.
So with vertical and lateral, you can fake somebody out, but two feints, one vertical, then one lateral, so they don't know where you're coming from.
Yeah. The first movement, the feint, must be long and deep or penetrating to draw the parry. The second movement, the hit, must be fast and decisive in its deception of the parry, allowing the defender no possibility of recovery. Thus, the feint rhythm is long-short.
Cuando tú estás haciendo tu feint, tú tienes que hacer un largo que penetre tu oponente. Por el segundo puede ser corto, sin que penetre, o sea que el oponente va a estar esperando que tú hagas una izquierda. El primero va a ser falso, pero el primero va a ser de verdad. Sí, pero es un básico. O sea, la mente complicada acá esperando que tú hagas eso. Por eso dice que
Even in the delivery of compound attacks with two feints, the depth of the first feint must force the opponent to move to the defense. But as at this stage, the measure has been considerably shortened, the second feint cannot also be long. There is no room and no time to do so. Thus, the rhythm or cadence of the two feint compound attack will be long, short, short. these are things that you guys really have to pick up from reading, from these readings, and also from it's sparring. We don't even really even do it in drills, because if you do it in a drill and you're like, oh, you know, fake high, go low, it's like they already know what you're doing. It's not a feint because you already told them what you're gonna do. And even with the wooden dummy, I don't really put many feints in there because it's just too much. It's just too much to remember, and it's like counting a beat just because you move like this is just kind of, it's too much. So everything is so direct. Like we do this, 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 this. Like there's no like faking out. And even in the tiger form, we can't really do it, the feints all together, because it's just so, it's so random and spontaneous. Yeah. So you only really get that type of training in sparring because you don't know what they're gonna do. And then if a real feint is they truly faked you out, and then you gotta try to fake them out. So it's maybe we could do it in a drill sometimes. Like we break down a drill, and I'll be like, all right, you know, throw a jab, jab, and then block, jab and block. But when you throw the jab, don't just throw the jab. Like try to fake them before you jab. That could, in a way, help. But as soon as you start adding all these other things, okay, you could jab, you could cross, you could do. Remember, we could break it down. You'd be like, all right, jab or cross, and then now you can do this one or that one. But then they don't know what you're gonna do, and then you gotta try to fake them. I mean, it can, but at the same time, like you know it's a drill, and they're only allowed to jab and cross to the face. So then, if they try to fake you to the stomach, you're not gonna go for it because you know that they're not allowed to hit down there anyway. So then you're just up here all the time, and then it still becomes fake. You know, that's why in sparring it's just all out. You don't know if they're gonna take you to the ground. You don't know if they're gonna jab and cross. You don't know if they're gonna high and low. You know they're gonna try to kick. That's the real. That's the main component of safe sparring that makes. This is the stuff that you're learning that takes time and experience that you can't learn from the phoenix form, can't learn from the tiger form. The safe sparring, I call it dragon form. You gotta learn from the dragon form, because even when you break down the drills, it's still not real enough. You know, so maybe sometimes you do touch contact or even no contact to get used to learning all this stuff and feel more confident with it before you start making more contact. But all this stuff that he's talking about in here, man, is a lot of it is like perfecting sparring, safe sparring. Like from the point, like pretty 2/3 of the book is pretty much about perfecting your sparring. And then like the first third is about the meditation.
Like all the answers to the test. The
Yeah,
test
like
is sparring.
this is
the answer.
this is like the dragon form right there, like the safe sparring. It's all right there. He's showing you everything to be good at real combat. You know, but he's not. He's talking about the techniques. He's organizing in written form. But what I'm doing is I'm putting these techniques. A lot of them are in the phoenix form, and so you know there's in the tiger form too. So I'm putting all this, all the techniques, organizing it in the forms, and then the safe sparring is your experience. You guys just keep doing it, and then that's how you get better at it. You know. But that's pretty much my objective, is to get you guys mentally. When you memorize that phoenix form, when you memorize that tiger form, it's pretty much like having this book with you at all times. Like it's all recorded. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all in here. You're like, you know it all. It just comes out. You know?
Page 108. Show me page 108.
I have a meeting, see if I have to leave.
Okay, cool. Alright, so let's work on some of these techniques that I